So, how's your semester going so far? It's just speeding right along, isn't it? These 11-week semesters go by so quickly, and we're about halfway through the semester. The format for this online class has been, I think, a bit unusual for some of you, particularly if you've had online classes before that were just straight read the book and take a test or that sort of thing. The small group discussions, especially, have been a bit unusual for some of you. But the point of that is to give you a group with which you can converse all semester long. You get to know each other a little bit better. It's a smaller group, like you might have a study group in a face-to-face class. And also you get to examine issues that perhaps we don't hit during the large group discussion. You can explore some things together. So I hope you'll continue to participate in that, and be sure to, when you're leading your group's discussion, to go back after everyone in your team has posted their responses and look through and summarize those responses. What I will do with that is to collect all of the information from each small group at the end of the semester, format that into one document, and then I'll return that to you so that you can see what the other small groups were talking about. And that may be helpful information for you going forward. But significantly, coming up real soon is the critical reviews, and that's going to be due at the end of the 6th week, coming up real soon. So wanted to be sure that you understood the formatting for that. So maybe I can cut off a few questions before you have a chance to raise them. If you will, please format your reviews all in one document. All right, just a single file from each one of you, rather than sending me 5 different documents each. That just more stuff for me to misplace. So format the reviews all in one document, all 5 reviews on one document. And I think the easiest way to approach the structure of it would be to begin your first article. If you'll put the bibliographical information at the top of the page, use the Wayland Religion and Philosophy Guide there, that's based on the Turabian, as the style for your bibliographical information. And then under that, start with your summary. The summary of the article should include what the writer was trying to demonstrate or prove, and the general points, the illustrations or the proofs or the arguments that supported that thesis, and how did the article conclude. So just that summary. The point of the summary is to show me that you comprehended the article, and not only that, but you were able to grasp what the salient points were of it and put those into a summary. The second aspect of the review is the critique, and the critique should be about 50% of the review. You will comment both on the positive and on the negative aspects of the article. Positive aspects would be, for example, if the thesis was clearly stated so that you could understand, what is this writer trying to tell me? Useful illustrations or appropriate proofs, convincing evidence for the thesis. Those are the sorts of items you would look for as positive aspects. Perhaps there were charts that were helpful. Perhaps the writer expressed the arguments in a very fluid and easily comprehensible way. All of those would be positive aspects of the article, and you'd want to comment on that. But there will very likely be some negatives as well. Perhaps the thesis statement wasn't entirely clear about what the author was trying to prove, and so it became difficult to know if the article actually addressed that appropriately. Maybe there was data given that was difficult to comprehend in text form. It would have been helpful to have included a chart, for example, or a graph. Perhaps the writing is complex and unnecessarily difficult to read. Maybe foreign terms were thrown in without any recognition that the reader might have a challenge with those. Any of the negative aspects of the article ought to be it ought to be included in your critique. So you've seen the word count on these. I encourage you to stay within those limits, tending perhaps towards the longer, the maximum number of words. Once you've finished the first article, then go to a new page and just hit, if you're dealing with Word, you just hit Control Enter, and that'll give you a new page in the same document. Once again, put the bibliographical information at the top, then the summary and the critique. If you'll do that for all 5 and keep those in one document, that will be helpful. If you quote the author of an article, instead of putting a footnote, just put in parentheses at the end of the quote, put the page number for that citation. I know what article you're writing about, and so, or you're quoting from, so I don't need to get that information twice in the same on the same page. So just use parenthetical references to the page number, and that will suffice. Of course, if you do cite someone else, maybe you read a review of the article and you appreciated what somebody else had to say about that article, in that instance, then you'd need to put a footnote with complete bibliographical information. But I don't anticipate that amount of research. So that's the way to put the reviews together. If you have any questions, you can send me an email, of course. You can send me a text message. I've given you my cell phone number. If it's really, you just have to talk about it, you can give me a phone call. If I'm asleep, my phone will be off, and so you can leave a voicemail. But by all means, contact me if you have a question. Don't just figure, well, I guess it's supposed to be like this. I hope this is right. Don't do that. I'm here for a reason. Let me know if you've got questions. Okay, so I wish you well in writing your reviews, and I look forward to reading them. Have a great week.